I want to start by introducing myself. Some of you already know, but my name is Zarina Yeager, and I focus on agent experience here at Avenue 8. So for today, I will be the host and moderator for the session, and I am joined by the one and only Nick Segal, and he will be taking us through today's session. So I'll pass the mic his way. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Nick.
Good morning, everybody. Thrilled to be here. Thank you for accommodating my COVID experience from last week. So we're back, we're negative, and life is infinitely better. So today is a kickoff for a new series that we're going to be rolling out at Avenue 8 called Field Strategies. And the intention is to make us smarter. The intention is to share ideas. And the intention is also to really be to provoke you to think more, to consider your business and to consider how you do your business. And the focus of team today is the dynamic that we're going to really dive into. So I'm thrilled to be here. I'm going to give you the best of 34 years of experience. So how's that, Serena? That's my intro.
That's lovely as always. So great. I think we're ready to get started. I do want to go over where we're going to be taking you through a few things, and we're going to be leaving you obviously with a few takeaways as well today. So after today's session, you guys will gain a deeper understanding of, the ever-growing popularity and value of working in a team, why you may be interested in working in a team, what you're looking for in a team, and or maybe the critical steps to creating a team to serve you and your business better. So after all of that, we will wrap up with a Q&A. So by all means, if you have something that's really getting you and you need to ask it in the Q&A box below. But if you can hold on to those questions for the end, we will definitely get them answered as well. All right, Nick, take it away.
Excellent. All right. So let's start with a little Jeopardy fun. Okay. I've gotten re-engaged in Jeopardy. So here are the 7 categories. This business can be lonely. The number 1 reason the agents don't advance their careers. Strength in numbers. The number 2 reason agents don't advance their careers. The perils of feast or famine. The difference between winning and losing. And lastly, you can't close the opportunities you don't get. So let's look at this. These 7 categories is my distillation of the team concept. Now, I want you to listen to this from the perspective of, even if you don't choose to join a team, and if that's the case, how do you support yourself individually in the growth and the expansion of your business? So to the first category, that this business can be lonely. This is a lonely business, and COVID has even accentuated the fact that we can become islands in and of ourselves. So when this business gets tough and you're alone, it gets tougher. When this business, when you have one of those wonderful wins, who do you share it with? And the dynamics of camaraderie that come forward. We are human beings, and we that in this business, we're very much gregarious, we're very much outward, and we express ourselves. And that dynamic needs support, and it needs resource where you can plug into something that may be greater than you along the way. So when you consider the dynamic of team, this consciousness of camaraderie, sharing ideas, the idea of I have this concept, something I want to try. Who do you speak to about this? Now, let me pause by saying, in the world of Avenue 8, and we've got agents coming from all different brokerages. Also consider your current broker as you look to these questions and the answers that you start to define for yourself. Are you getting the support from your brokerage? Are you getting the opportunity to share ideas, to bang ideas off of each other, to consider the good, the bad, the ugly, to consider associated costs, the idea of Has this worked in the past? Am I outside? Am I pushing the envelope so far that it may not serve me? So using experience, using guidance from management, from those that have been doing this for a period of time, is a wonderful way to support you as an individual. But now, as you consider a team dynamic, where are you finding this opportunity to share ideas, to share in the wins, where if there's an alignment and a team alignment, when one of you gets a listing, you all have the opportunity to win from that. So there's a great sort of collegial dynamic that the team can give you versus it's a lonely business. So number two, the number one reason why agents don't advance their careers. What do we think that is? If you pause for a moment, I really think it comes down to your own accountability. You know, we put forth an idea, we put forth a concept that we want to really put on its feet. But it's a series of action steps, right? And when I consider that if I want to create a farm area, and I'm going to do it by myself, well, there are a series of steps of understanding what is the chemistry of that farm area, what are the dynamics of the numbers, owner occupied, non-owner occupied, all of these overview details that we start with, right? But then at some point, you got to put the rubber needs to meet the road. How are you engaging with that sphere of influence or that geographic farm? In a team dynamic, the ability to hold each other accountable is probably one of the most powerful ways that you can grow your business and also offset the times when you're doing it by yourself. And so as I look at some of my notes here, the idea of having someone to answer to, right? Why do we have a trainer? Because that person kicks our butt, because they get us going consistently out there. They challenge us to not only hit our goals, but then exceed them. Now, when you're considering accountability mechanisms, one of the things that I would always look to are the consciousness of shared work ethic and mutual respect. And as you're looking to a partnership, as you're looking to a team dynamic, you need to look at those that you're considering engaging with. And yes, they're going to support you ideally with the accountability, but do you like the way they do their business? Do you respect the way they do their business? Because if you don't, you're going to undermine the relationship before it even gets started. So as you look towards accountability, as you look towards ways that you can grow your business, make sure that if you are going to engage with somebody else, or if you're going to engage in a larger team, you like the way they do their business, you like their attitude, you like their work ethic, and the way they conduct themselves, because you are going to become an extension of them, and they in turn are going to become an extension of you. So number three, strength in numbers. One of the main reasons I believe people come together as teams is the idea of volume and credibility. And if I look if I'm an agent and one, I haven't sold anything, or I've sold 3 things in the course of a year, or I do about $10 million worth of business, we're all looking for a competitive advantage in this business. And if you come and associate with a team, and suddenly if that team dynamic is as big as, well, I can now say I'm a part of a $2 billion operation. Well, when we're just getting into the business, to align with a group, a team dynamic, where you now not just walk in with your credibility, but you walk in with the team's credibility. Well, I'm part of a $2 billion team. I'm part of a $10 billion team. That perception of success and credibility will serve you dynamically as you're just getting started. Now, we'll talk about what you give up to be a part of that team. But when you look to your, you've heard us at Avenue 8, and you've heard Scott Carmody and me, and over the course of time, and Al, one of the questions we ask everybody is, why would I hire you? What makes you special? What makes you different? Now, the team dynamic and that credibility gives you an expanded narrative to consider. Now, I would hope that you're not just joining a team to say, well, you're going to give me leads now, right? Because I joined your team. It is always a two-way street. There's, the team leader is going to be looking to you to bring value, just like you're looking to that team to bring you value. But as you consider what the strength in numbers dynamic is, one, that credibility, but two, you've also got the opportunity for marketing opportunities, right? If you want to work a geographic farm and that team has done a fair number of transactions in, let's say, Bel Air, and you want to step out and cut your teeth in that location, to be able to leverage and resource all of those previous sales becomes instant credibility for you to start to say, well, I and the team, because we will always speak in truths, but if I say myself and my team have done, we've done 6 deals in Bel Air in the last 24 months, and that gives us credibility to say that we know that marketplace, that can serve you very, very well. So, consider competitive advantage in every dynamic of what you do in this business. But as you look to a team potentially, or partnering with an individual, how does that help your marketing opportunities? How does that help your narrative? And also, how does that help your competitive advantage? So, number 4. The number 2 reason why agents don't advance their careers is they don't spend money investing in themselves. Now, this is one of the great catch-22s, right? When we live commission to commission, and we know we want to carve out a portion of every revenue dollar towards the growth of our business. But if we haven't closed a deal in a little while, and the mortgage or the rent's due, and I got to make sure I got the car payment, and now the dog needs a vet bill, and life, right, comes up, and it takes a great discipline. It takes a commitment to dedicated dollars to grow your business. Now, when you work in a team dynamic, you have the opportunity to carve out portions of money, of funds, and you can dedicate those perhaps more easily towards the growth of your business, depending on what the strategy is. Is it sphere of influence, and we want to throw a party every quarter and bring all of our clients together? Is it some sort of other event? Is it geographic? Is it whatever those dynamics are that you believe and that you have the highest degree of confidence is going to serve the growth of your business? You do need money in order to do it. And when you're on your own, it sometimes can be oftentimes it can be very difficult to create the carve out of those monies to do it. So when you work on a team where, especially a bigger team, where marketing dollars are already being spent to promote the awareness campaigns of that XYZ team, you then get not only the borrowed cool of that, but you can ride that wave and use those dollars to your advantage when you're promoting to your sphere of influence as you're getting going. So very important that there be the resources to do this. Number 5. Now, this is I'm going to call this income consistency. Now, if you are a part of a team where you're all going to pool your resources together and cut up these deals however you define that division, you have the opportunity to have a more consistent flow of income coming forward. Now, you give away a portion of your deal, but you gain a portion of someone else's deal. So if one of your biggest concerns in this business is the inconsistency of cash flow, the consideration of a team dynamic may serve you very well to look to somebody else and say, what if we pooled our resources? What is your book of business currently? What is my book of business currently? What do we see the projection of our individual books of business? Would it make sense to come into an accord and an alignment towards the benefit of pooling not only resources, but then pooling incomes so that we can have a more measured effect to this? Now, if you're joining a seasoned team, that's not going to be part of the equation. And we'll get into what the value add of that is from shared income streams. But there is the opportunity, if you join a bigger team, to pick up leads, such as leases or ancillary deals that the team lead doesn't want to deal with. That's an opportunity for you to create more income. You're going to give a portion of that away to the team lead in exchange for that lead. But it does a couple of things, right? It gives you the ability to fully engage, flex your muscles in this business, client interactions, deal strategy, negotiating dynamics. This is an on-the-job training business. What we all learned to get our real estate license, we all know we just threw that out the window. Now it's about practical realities. How do I get in front of people? How do I create loyalty? How do I create opportunities to represent these clients and service? And how do I then use the success that we create as the opportunity to springboard them to become an ambassador for the growth of my business? This is how it works. So the more you have opportunities to create that opportunity, working in a team could serve you very well. That's number 5. Number 6, and my subset here was the difference between winning and losing. I'm calling this mentorship. Now, if you are newer to the business, you need mentorship. You need people to strategize ideas with. You need people to support you when you're in a deal and you get thrown a curveball, or how am I going to present this request for repairs? How am I going to close this listing? How am I, fill in the blanks, right? All of these ideas that promote and perpetuate the growth of your business. It comes between creating contracts. It becomes a knowing how and what to say and when to say it. And when you're just getting started, you are going to put your foot in your mouth for a host of reasons. The biggest and most glaring is you need the deal. And the fact that you need the deal, it's going to cloud a lot of the dynamics of how you engage with that person. Genuine service is not having an attachment to the outcome. Good luck when you haven't done a deal and you're trying to get your foundation business rolling. The ability to have mentorship is the opportunity to not only have that safe space, that camaraderie, but also the knowledge base to support you with ideas of, hey, try this strategy, ask these questions, get this data, get this information. Have you considered this as part of your preparation? All of these things come with mentorship. Now, when you're in a team dynamic and you've got an actual team lead that is an established name, you've really got to look to the fact that if you join that team, is that individual going to be available to support you? Is that individual going to have the time to help nurture you and the growth of your business? Because if they don't, it may just breed frustration. That's going to create this divide between you and that team lead, first and foremost, but also leave you feeling like you're back stranded on an island by yourself. And then you start to calibrate, well, wait a minute, I'm giving this person a portion of my deal. I'm not getting the support that I need. Is this the right relationship for me? So that's the negative spiral, right? So better to have eyes wide open and consider with clear intended purpose why you as an individual are going to go into any sort of team dynamic And you really need to consider what you're willing to give to that partnership and what you anticipate receiving, not from a place of expectation, but from a place of intentionality and clear communication. And so as you consider a team, your first real action step is to consider the pros and the cons of aligning forces. And then when you look to what is that ideal scene of who would be that team lead, making sure that you clarify with them what you're looking for and ask candidly, do they have the juice to give you that? Because really you're accessing experience, you're accessing strategies in real time. And one of the most critical dynamics of this business is your ability to really read the tea leaves of a situation. You know, you understand the landscape of a deal, you see where the emotional points are, you see what someone, where you're losing them and their interest. And how do you engage with someone with very strategic purpose to keep them engaged, to keep them in a place where you're continually demonstrating your value. You demonstrate your value based on that experience. You demonstrate your value through the facts. You demonstrate your value more than anything really in the empathetic way that you engage with your clients. You must be present. You must know that you have resources behind you wherein you don't feel you have to do this all by yourself. And so that mentorship dynamic becomes a wonderful element of the equation. Lastly, you can't close the opportunities you don't get. So let's call this lead generation. Why do you join a team? I touched on some of these aspects before. You join a team because hopefully there's going to be opportunities, both with the credibility that you create by using this team with your spheres of influence, and also the opportunity to gather opportunities that the team doesn't have the time for, doesn't want to be a part of. In many respects, joining bigger teams sometimes starts as a buyer agent. You know, it is the ability to work those leads that otherwise falling through the cracks. And one of the great questions you could ask as you're looking to see if someone has a team and has the need, ask them after their open houses, if you can get them, say, how do you deal with the people that walk through the open houses? And do you have a support system to try and nurture those leads and try and convert them from someone who just walked in and then out of the front door as to someone that you could nurture and become your next buyer or your next seller? And if that's fully fleshed out for you, great. If it isn't, I'd like to raise my hand as the opportunity to maybe support you and your team. So let's look at this from part of this dynamic is also strength in numbers, right? This is part 2 of that. So for younger agents, here are 3 questions that you need to ask yourself. Can I close a deal on my own? How many deals will I lose on my own? That's the nebulous question, but you think you're going to get them all, right? But then suddenly you go, wow, that client stopped calling me, or why did that deal just kind of fall apart? Your inexperience sometimes precludes you from really seeing what's going on in real time. And again, you're clouded by your attachment, and that can become a real deterrent for you to stay in alignment with and simpatico with the client. And number 3, excuse me, do I trust that the money that I give up will serve me in the long run towards my greater abundance in the future? So if you join a team and you find that you realize I'm giving up dollars right now in real time, and these are hard-earned dollars that I may have generated out of the gate. Yeah, but you're looking at it as a long arc, and the investment that you make in yourself could very well be the fact that you give up a portion of your income, and in return, you get these dynamics of mentorship, of intelligence, of credibility, of track record. All of those things, they work hand in hand. Now, for you team leads that are considering growing your business. Now, the other day I heard from a guy who's looking to grow his business, and the reason he's growing his business is because he's realizing, as many people do, is If I attract young talent right out of school that's well connected, they went to Beverly Hills High or whatever that is, they have spheres of influence. They come onto my team. I split those deals 50-50 with them. I show them the ropes. They bring in more opportunities for me, which offsets my marketing expenses, my staffing, all of those different dynamics that the team lead is primarily responsible for. So that's the reason why people grow these teams into 50, 60, 80 people. They're just mini farm systems for themselves. And you got to understand that when you walk into that environment, that is, when you look towards culture and shared work ethic and you look towards camaraderie, are you going to get those things in those environments? You may, you very well may. And you may feel like you're an island on your own. So if you're a team lead, these are the questions that I would hope you would ask of yourself for the benefit of the supporting the youth that's coming forward. Do I have the time to dedicate to nurture young talent and their potential leads? You must really come to terms with that and see, one, you're based on your own organization schedule, do you have the ability to grow so that you can welcome someone in, give them every opportunity to win, which is going to help you win. Number two, will I create a world where young talent can grow and learn? Will I create different types of dynamics and shared intelligence? Will I bring in outside speakers? Will I give them the ability to understand how money works? All of the dynamics that a young agent needs. Are you, as that team lead, focused on that, or are you leaving them to chance? And then lastly, will I share the best of who I am in support of the culture and growth of my team? My encouragement to any team lead is that if you bring a group of people and they're entrusting their careers in many respects with and to you, that you honor that and that you approach the dynamic of your team as a family, and that, if you ask someone to do something, it's something that you wouldn't already do yourself and or haven't already done. So it is 10:29 on the blink, and I want to leave some time for Q&A and or to anybody to have some ideas that I've either springboarded or you want to explore further. And I will tell you that section 2 of this is going to be the nuts and the bolts. So, forming a team, the legalities of it, defining the lanes and roles, managing expertise. Then we'll look at the day in, day out responsibilities and commitments to both sides of that team, the team lead and the individual. Creating a winning culture. I don't care how new you are to the business. If you're part of a team, you can affect the culture of that entire dynamic if you choose to. And then managing the exit. You've got pre-existing relationships. If it doesn't work out, how do you deal with the exit strategy? The honeymoon is beautiful, but the divorce is expensive. So let's make sure you understand that eyes wide open going in. So that's going to be next session. So no need to really talk about logistics in this session. I really want to stay to the lane of what I've covered out of the gate. So Zarina, any questions, anything that someone wants to share or talk about?
Yeah, so I know we do have a question from Sam West. So let's go ahead and activate his mic now. Hi, Sam.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. How are you?
Good. So I have a question. So assume I'm a brand new agent and I will join the team for the benefits that you've mentioned. And then after a few months, few deals, why would I want to stay? Number one. And number two, why would I just leave and go on my own? I've learned enough. I've done a couple of deals, 3 deals, whatever. And I want to, make my own thing.
Yeah. Well, that's a great question. And if someone thinks they've learned it all in 3 deals, God bless you. This is the most nuanced business that needs so many perspectives to figure it out. So if you're thinking about going onto a team to try and use them as a mentor program for your first 3 deals, and then you're going to get out, and that's your intention, do everyone a favor, don't do that, because all you're going to do is create tremendous ill will. And as I challenge the team lead out of the gate, what kind of culture do you want to create in my 7th topic that I just discussed? Ideally, people come together for a long-term relationship. And if everyone goes into that relationship with the understanding that we can help each other, there is a great opportunity that your stature can grow within that team dynamic. And yeah, if you started a 50-50 split with them, but after 3 deals, you go to 70-30. And if you get up to 80%, and then you can always leverage the growth of that team into new markets, is it worth giving up 10 points between 80 and 90%? And then in the Avenue 8 world, once you cap out, is it worth that delta? Could be, but I encourage you not to go into a partnership that really inspires you with the idea that you're just going to get in, get out. In that scenario, I'd find a great mentor who's going to be there with you for those 3 deals. And then you do them, and then they're going to turn you over to your manager. And of course, your manager is going to help you strategize deals. And there are many people that do this on their own or just with an assistant. So there's no right or wrong, but I challenge the consciousness out of the gate.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. And it looks like we do have some other questions from Herb. So I'll go ahead and say these for you, Herb, since you put them in the Q&A box. But Nick, we want to know, what are some of the biggest pitfalls when starting a team?
The biggest pitfall is the lack of organization and clear intention of what you want to get out of a team. You don't just come together with hey, I got a great idea. We're going to be a team. We're going to work this together, because all of your flaws and all of the shit that you don't do well anyway are just going to become more glaring, because you know you're good at, and you kind of push aside what you're not. Ideally, if you come together with a team, you find someone who's really good out in front, and you find someone who's really good in the back room, and you work together to grow a business wherein you can play to your strengths. But first, you have to identify those strengths, and you have to be candid enough to identify your weaknesses, so that the power of 2 becomes the strength of 3.
Awesome. Now, we do have some other great ones from Herb. What are some of the various roles that exist on teams, paid, commission-based?
Paid commission-based. So remember that the idea of, if I'm a team lead, there's really only a couple of reasons why I'm going to bring you on in terms of the growth. One is you have a sphere of influence that we can leverage together to help you close more deals, and I get a piece of those, right? Or you're going to do the business that's falling through the cracks for me, and I don't have the time or the organization to handle. So I would give you those types of opportunities. In terms of paid before we play, you're looking at being an assistant, and you're looking at being someone who sits the open houses and does the inspections, and you get paid a nominal fee to support the greater good, and then you're left on your own to create business if you can find it. But that's kind of a fragmented society. I would say either go in all in as an assistant for a period of time, or look to the first 2 dynamics that I talked about.
Awesome. And then Nick, what are some of the comps or split strategies when forming teams?
Great question. So it normally starts, if you're younger, at 50-50. If I, as a young agent, am joining your team, I have a deal, I get 50% of it, you get 50% of it, and then it's cut up with the house. As you're more established, you can command a higher split, 70%, even sometimes, excuse me, 80%. And you become part of a team because you're ready to take your business to the next level and you want to use them to springboard it. Those are kind of the dynamics. Some team leads will say, listen, just give me 25 points, go close the deal, because they're also getting the delta between what is your high-end split and what the relationship is between the team lead and the brokerage. So they're getting a couple of bites of that apple. I've seen that happen many times as well.
All right. And then I do have two more questions that I will pan to you, Nick. And then I do see that we have Mikayla with her hand raised. So just to let you know, Mikayla, I do see it, and we will get to you right after these two questions. Now, Nick, how does Avenue 8 support the team dynamic?
That's a phenomenal question.
I thought so as well.
It depends on what the team dynamic needs. Now, in some respects, and we're really graduating into this at Avenue 8, of really supporting your backroom, letting you really drive your marketing push, letting you drive your outward presentation to the marketplace, even expanding your own brand dynamics. And we support you from AEM and the relationship with from broker loads to tools and technology, to being that single point person, but also then the backroom brokerage of liability, admin, the ability to make sure transactions are all set up, having access to excellent TCs, and then of course strategy and brain trust. I know there's a group of people right now in Santa Monica with Scotty, and he's going to be walking them through the whole the continuation of the deposit receipt and the contract. And so we will always be there to support you with intelligence. That is our driving force, and using our experience to navigate whatever the market condition is. But then there are those logistics as well. And then and if you want to be part of a team and you want to grow your team, Avenue 8 also has a whole sales force that can help you grow the team, that can help you identify new talent and help and even interview that talent in alignment with what your needs are, and then present you with potential candidates to help grow your team. So the Avenue 8 dynamic, I think, is quite vast and beautifully set up to support teams to the degree you need that support.
Well, I definitely agree with you, Nick. And one more we have, it looks like from the room at WeWork. What about sharing a personal sphere of influence with the team? How should that work?
Yeah. So if I come onto your team and I've got a nice sphere of influence, the first, and we'll get into this again in greater detail next week, you're going to identify that sphere of influence. That is your treasure trove, right? And you will bring that sphere of influence to the team so that you can help cultivate that sphere of influence and help grow them and create new listings, which becomes new buyers and sellers that walk through the door, and then it grows, grows, grows. It is critical that you define the ownership of that sphere of influence, and that you are willing to absolutely share the opportunities to create more leads, which creates greater volume, to creates greater opportunities for everybody. And in the event that you are to choose to separate from that team, that it's clearly defined that sphere of influence and people that may come as a result of during the team experience, those layered people, they also would be identified and carved out in the event that you were no longer a part of that team. That's the cleanest way to do it.
Definitely. And then Mikayla, I know you had your hand raised. I can activate your mic if you're ready with that question.
Yeah, thank you. This was a follow-up question to the one asking about how teams are typically set up with like financial splits and commissions. And you had said, it's really common for especially a brand new agent to just do a 50-50 at first and then maybe change it from there. So is it uncommon to see that commissions vary based off like who brings in the client, the lead? Is it
Absolutely.
uncommon to see it to do it that way? Or is it common to do it that way?
Yes. I mean, if I were to join your team right now, I've got a pretty good track record and I've got a pretty good book of business. So I'm going to create a dynamic where I will certainly give compensation, but I've got to see the value in return for that. And it speaks to the overarching intentionality of what you're doing as an agent. Why are you in this business? What do you want to create for yourself? What are you willing to give up in order to create it? And how committed to you are you to the integrity of who you are, the fire in your belly to win, and the ethical ways that you're going to conduct yourself? And if you get those things really clear, you're already going to walk into any room in any environment that much more confident, that much more articulate, and that much more present to receive what is being presented back to you in real time, so that you can, from that consciousness of service, be of service. So using the team dynamic there's no difference in that. Whether you're the team lead or you're joining a team, you need to be really clear how that team dynamic is going to support your business. And if you realize you don't want to play to it, then you got to look to Avenue 8 or whatever your brokerage that you're at right now and say, how are you going to support me and how can I support you? Because that is a two-way street. And when it becomes a one-way street, it don't work.
Awesome. Thank you, Mikayla. I do have 3 more questions since we're coming up on time. Let me go ahead and give you the first one here. This one's from Catherine. What contract or contracts would you recommend when building a team, Nick?
Stay tuned next week. We'll be talking about that.
Wonderful answer, because we definitely will. All right. And then another one we have here from Pablo. You mentioned that agents can earn the accolades of joining a seasoned team, but how does a newly established team do the same if my newly branded team is newly established as well?
Yeah, you've got to look to your previous successes and your previous enterprises and use the characteristics that created success in those endeavors that you can apply towards real estate. So if you had a highly successful fitness training program or what your previous business was, you were highly successful in X, how does that X translate into service? And then you can play the successes of previous success and apply it as your narrative extension towards the growth of your team. Obviously, you can't lie and say you've sold $2 billion worth of real estate if you haven't. So you've got to play to your strength always.
Definitely. All right. And we have one final one. This is coming from Herb. What does a successful team look like?
How do you define success, Herb? It's very individualistic. Is it 150 million? Is it 300 million? Is it 20 million? But because I've got a team dynamic, I have a quality of life because I can go be with my family when I want to, and I know the back room is covered, and I know my clients are covered, and you're going to speak to my clients, our clients, the way that I have great faith and confidence that that's how they should be spoken to and served. Quality of life could be more valuable than any dollar amount. So that's part of it, back to the intentionality.
All right. Well, wonderful. It looks like there's no further questions as of now, and we're looking right on time. So that does do it for today's session. I do want to thank you all for who have attended today, and we're hoping that after this session, you have a better understanding of the benefits of working on a team, as well as you know what to look for if you are interested in joining a team. If there are any questions or were any questions that we didn't get to or that you come up with that you'd like our insight on, please feel free to reach out to us at contact@avenue8.com. I will definitely put that in the chat. And as a reminder, we are going to be continuing the conversation with Nick next week, and that will be our following session, The Business of Teams. This session will cover more of granular details about the mechanics of team structures, and then we'll drop in the registration link in the chat box as well. But you can also receive the details in a follow-up email shortly. So if you're unavailable next week, no worries. Just like today's, we will be posting this as well as next week's session on our YouTube channel for you to watch back. So after next week, we will have some more exciting sessions coming as well. On July 20th, we'll be joined by our very own Alan Long. He is our managing director of Los Angeles, and that session will be on writing and presenting offers. So thanks again, Nick, for leading us through today's session, and to all of you for joining. Hope to see you all next week and have a wonderful holiday weekend.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys.